Another trans shooter. This is like the second one in the past month where it was Canada's worst school shooting ever in their history of their nation. And then there's the Robert Dorgan that is happening right now. If you don't know what Robert Dorgan looks like, this is Robert Dorgan, and this is Robert Dorgan, and this photo is also Robert Dorgan. So just want to point this out that I'm not going to be specifically talking about them being trans. I'm going to talk about why this happened. 6 years ago, this particular individual was divorced by Rhonda Dorgan. Rhonda had quoted saying that Robert was narcissistic, abusive, evil, mean, had a lot of mental health issues, things going on there. So that was the big reason. And they had also said that Robert Dorgan was threatening to take the lives of their family, but the authorities didn't take it seriously because Robert was a white man at the time. According to police reports, Robert Dorgan had talked his way out of doing that and then became Roberta Dorgan afterwards. Roberta Dorgan was having an issue finding somebody to be with, and many had quoted that they seemed a bit off, and she was actively posting crazy things online, but those posts have since now been deleted, and it was a big issue, but nobody took it seriously because, you guessed it, Roberta was, before becoming Roberta, a white male. I'm not saying that all white males are violent. I'm not saying biological males are violent in any capacity. I'm a biological man. Not saying that. I don't want to say the actions of one person is responsible for the entirety of something. But nobody is talking about the mental health issues that were obviously known prior before this big incident. That's what's messing me up. Am I happy that this isn't a black person? 100%. I'm pretty sure every Asian person is happy it's not an Asian person. And I'm pretty sure every cis white male is happy it's not another cis white male, because we like to get organized into our specific tribes. But Roberta Dorgan, Robert Dorgan, however you want to call her, was never going to be discussed as a person. Not a person who had a history, a family, a collapse, a trajectory that ended in horror, because Roberta Dorgan ended up shooting themselves after taking the lives of their ex-wife and their son. A lot of news outlets are reporting that it's their current wife, but it's their ex-wife. See, this requires sitting in discomfort if you actively want to talk about it in a complicated manner that actually matters. That requires question about what that leads to, someone who took to that point without excusing the act itself. So instead, she is being flattened into this symbol, a symbol of something that people were already angry about. See, look, trans people are evil. This is justification. This is easy. If a black dad leaves, then every black dad would leave. If a white man shoots up a school, then they all shoot up a school. And I've discovered that we collectively need to start attacking people and not ideas, because a lot of people want to attack the ideals of something, because it's easier to be angry at a set of ideals rather than it is to be angry at a person. It's easier. Symbols are easier to scream about than people. Symbols don't have context. Symbols don't have messy divorces, destabilizing family conflicts. Reported histories of emotional freefall systems just have labels. And the speed of this flattening, the speed of it all, very dizzying. It's as if you're watching some wildfire and then you watch it spread and then you say, who started this? This is strange. What's going on? This is odd. Must be the liberals. Must be the liberals. No, the wildfire was, nope, must be the liberals. And it seems insane to see. There are millions, and I do mean millions, of trans people living ordinary lives, paying bills, raising kids, going to work, never committing violence, and simply vanishing from the frame. But when a shooter shares their identity, oh, hold up a second. Wait. We got to harp on this for a few weeks. As a matter of fact, this is going to be an outrage outlet for a bunch of people. As a matter of fact, this is going to add to the statistic number of how evil it is. We got to use statistics as justification to alienate and destroy an entire generation of people and make sure they don't get past legislation. And that's what's going to happen. And that's going to be fun. And that's going to be beautiful for everybody. It's going to be so fun. This story first dropped, I believe, 2 days ago, and everybody wanted me to immediately jump on it. But I wanted to wait for more details to come out, because that is important for me to care about the details. And the selective incompleteness of the entire conversation, that's violent. That's violent to me. Almost no one wants to touch the details that don't fit. The divorce that the wife was talking about prior, the family conflict, the fact that everybody in the circle was talking about the violence of this individual prior to the transitioning that nobody took seriously because, well, in their own words, he was a fun, lovable guy. But when he became she, and now, oh, that's the reason, that's what's going on. But there was obviously current signs of things going on. The report that her current wife her current wife is incorrect. It was ex-wife. It was ex-wife. And that she was having issues in her dating life. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. That's according to family members. That all those things matter. Those aren't apologies, excuses. They are data points in the catastrophe of a human life that causes things to happen. Pretending they don't exist turns this into something, oh, this is supernatural. This is strange. Instead, we got the same playbook. Identity, that's the villain. You see, he wouldn't be violent if he was black. Oh, so it's white male. White men are naturally more prone. Well, women can't try. That's ridiculous. Asians are good at math. It's this stereotyping and prejudice that's becoming the backdrop of everything. It's the backdrop of cause. Trans people become the story. No one cares about the victims, the community in shock, the category. That's it. Millions of people who had nothing to do with this. Nothing. And if you're curious why this happens over and over again, it's disgusting. Because you know what happens? Because this happens to trans people, now the LGBTQ community is going to do this to white men. And the white men are going to do this back to trans people. And then trans people are going to do this back to white men. And the white men are going to do this back. Then they're going to say, well, the statistics matter. And it's this constant tribal war, this beef, this blood v crip, this stupid nonsense that keeps going on over and over again. And at this point, it's theater. It's poetry in some ways. It's just people, millions, who would never even conceive of this, who are just trying to live their lives, suddenly find themselves standing in the glare of a spotlight they didn't ask for, being asked to answer for something they didn't do. And this is so important. This is so important. Now, I could do the prejudice phenomenon where someone's going to say, well, actually, this is a big issue with a lot of new egg trans people where they're horrifically violent, especially trans women, because they're having a bunch of new hormones in their body and they don't know how to operate with it. And I could do this old rigmarole about the science behind everything. And then someone's going to come up and say, well, the trans women I know are never this violent. Yeah, and then you could just have an argument in the comment section about the words that I said. And I could do that. But trans people are not a monolith. Any more than divorced people are a monolith, or grieving people, or people from broken families, or people who have experienced emotional collapse. Violence does not emerge from identity. It emerges from isolation, from despair, from untreated mental health crisis, from social environments that leave people alone with their worst thoughts until those thoughts become actions. When we refuse to say that out loud, we are choosing the comfort of our own lies over the truth of the reality of the situation. You can hate a category, but it's so hard to hate a singular person. It's very difficult to do so. And it's how quickly empathy gets rationed. How fast people decide who deserves context and who deserves condemnation. Only no one is saying this act wasn't horrific. It was. Full stop. Everybody's saying that. Horror does not require dehumanization to be acknowledged. You can hold both troops. What happened was evil, and the person who did it was a human being whose life to that moment, through a series of collapses that could, in theory, be understood without being excused. This is important. And if you feel that exhaustion looming in, the same exhaustion that I have right now, that creeping in, you're actually realizing your clarity colliding with the very cynical machine. I'm sure you're tired of it. You're still trying to hold complexity in a world that rewards simplicity. That's what's happening right now. I need you to mourn the victim, condemn the violence, refuse the lies that flatten people into symbols and to categories and to causes. Do that, please. And yes, also please vote in the midterms. This is the most important thing that I could possibly have. This administration has been pushing this cynical machine over and over again, and the midterms are coming up in November, and I know that seems far away, but that's very close. It's very close, because this does not change by yelling into the void alone and telling all these things and me making these videos. I vote every year. I vote every single year about so many different things. It changes when power shifts, when leadership changes, when people writing laws are forced to answer the reality instead of fear. That's what we need in this important thing. Research candidates. If you're above the age of 18, hopefully most of my viewers are, please, I beg of you, if you don't do that work, the hate train doesn't slow. If we just keep picking up passengers, we all pay the price. All of us. Thank you so much for checking out my content. Have a lovely day or night wherever you're at. Let me know your thoughts about the situation. I'm out. Peace. Bye.
I'm your nigga night, be my loyal. Slow. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.